Take my word for it. I live there. Come to Florida. Get pre-approved right now with my guy Michael Kotze. Call him at 561-441-2730. He's got Choice Mortgage and a great real estate team. Get pre-approved right now. Michael Kotze, 561-441-2730. Buy in Florida right now. Don't wait. Save money on state taxes. Make your move today with Choice Mortgage. Trust me, Florida is waiting. This guy's so good, he did my commercials in Florida too. Mike Kotze, 561-441-2730. A ride.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. So Netflix is basically Santa this year. 2 NFL games on Christmas Day, streaming live. At 1 p.m. Eastern, it's Cowboys, Commanders. Then at 4:30, you've got Lions, Vikings. Midwest football, playoff stakes, and probably some snow. Watching holiday football is a tradition the whole family can enjoy. Open some gifts, grab some food, settle in, and watch NFL Live on Netflix this Christmas Day.
This is Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack. Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC. Here's TJ McCormack.
Yes, good morning, gang. 7 minutes past, and we're going right along here on Another Side of Midnight. It's me, TJ, and we are all around the country on the Red Apple Audio Networks, and you can listen to us all over the ding-dang world on WABCRadio.com. And good morning. Really grateful that you're here. Grateful to have this conversation. We're talking about, Trump who's floating the notion that he might next month or soon, sometime next week, could be gonna reclassify marijuana, THC, cannabinoids, neonicotinoids from it's a class 1 drug, and they're going to reclassify it and make it, decriminalize it at the federal level. And I mean, put it this way. I'm sober. I don't expect people to be teetotalers. I buy wine for my wife. I enjoy when I see people enjoying themselves. And I get the idea of kicking back. I get the idea of taking the edge off. I understand it. And I was just going to say I miss it. I guess I miss it. But in a million years, because I'm an addict, I would never go back to it. But in the morning, when I go straight to the gym, like a good sober dude, when I go straight to the gym, and this morning, yesterday morning, Friday morning, straight to the gym, way early, stupid, shut up your mouth, I hate everything early. Especially when it's cold out. The entire time that I'm lifting weights, not like you're like tough guy lifting weights, but like, trying to give somewhat definition to my girly arms. No offense to girls. But the entire time that I'm lifting weights, all I'm thinking about is finally having coffee. It's what drives me out of it. Because yes, I'm addicted to the nicotine. And yes, as I've said, I've got any Diet Coke enthusiasts know exactly what that sound is. There's my Diet Coke. There's my mind-altering substance for the show. So I admit it. I too am in pursuit. None of us are perfect, but there is nothing that's inebriating about the Diet Coke. There's, the coffee. And am I a complete hypocrite? Feel free to call up and just say I'm a hypocrite. It's okay. It's okay to call up and say I'm a hypocrite. Or that I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. Whatever you want to say. But as much as I'm cool with people getting high or getting drunk, I'm cool with the idea. It's okay. My problem is there's just something more. And again, this is just my perception, and I'm being honest. I'm just telling you how it strikes me. When it comes to the weed, there's just much more of a dummying. I do believe that people who smoke weed are, yes, they're out there. They're smoking more. They're smoking more throughout the day. They're picking up a joint. They're taking a few hits. They're putting it down. They're coming back to it. They're absolutely doing more weed than non-alcohol, non-addict drinkers. Non-addict drinkers. People smoking weed are getting high and maintaining a high more than just recreational non-addict drinkers. 1-800-848-9222. Let's get over to Rick in Jersey. Rick, good morning. Welcome. Thanks for hanging on.
Yeah, good morning, TJ.
Hi there.
And the raccoonies send their regards.
Hello to the raccoonies. Hello.
Yes. Anyway, respectfully, you are being a little hypocritical.
Okay.
And I got a couple little things here. I'll go real quick.
Sure.
Don't cut me off, please.
No, you got it.
Okay. First of all, he's changing it as a legal thing because do you realize right now, if I have a marijuana cigarette in my pocket and I step across the state line to New York, I am now a felon. I am now put in the same category as that lady that stabbed that lady in the back in Macy's. I am a felon. I can go to jail for years. Do you think that's right? No. Especially for something that's legal that you buy and pay taxes on.
Right.
Now, the people that are calling up respectfully again, you all sound like the temperance people did in the 20s, beating the drum.
Admittedly,
you know?
yes.
Yeah, and you realize what happened when we did that. When we made something illegal that people wanted to do, it became out of control. That's what started organized crime. That's why people were dying from bathtub gin. The only way to keep track of anything people want to do is you make it legal and make laws that kind of restrict it. And people will follow laws if you let them do what they want to do. But when you say you can't do it, now there's no law at all. Now it's go for anything.
Right.
Now, you realize that in my life, 5 or 6 close people in my life died from alcohol, not from pot. I've never known anyone in my life, he died from using pot. It doesn't happen. It's literally impossible to die from an overdose of pot. And you can look that up. You throw up, that's all that happens.
But can't the quality of their life be sort of numbed? You know what I mean? And people haven't died, people don't die, although we're going to be certainly probably, listen to me. I would imagine we're going to start seeing, more, traffic accidents and therefore more deaths due to,
then do we stop
no.
people from drinking? How many accidents happen because of alcohol?
Well,
and you
loads.
yourself, you said you buy wine for your wife. You're not buying non-alcoholic wine, are you?
I'm buying wine.
Because she enjoys that. All right.
Yeah.
Well, she can drink responsibly. Well, people can smoke responsibly.
Yes.
But because the law says that you're a felon, that he's making it so people don't go to jail for something innocuous. And people say, it's so much stronger now. Well, yeah, that's what happened when they made they started to distill alcohol. They didn't make that illegal because they realized people aren't drinking 16-ounce glasses of whiskey. They're drinking 1 little ounce glass of whiskey.
Right.
The same thing with pot. It's much stronger, so you just take much less. It's actually healthier for you because you don't have to smoke a whole joint. You smoke 3 puffs. That's it. I mean,
have you ever blown a little into the faces of the raccoons?
No, I don't believe in getting animals high, except on catnip. If they ask me for it, sure. But
I think it'd be interesting for you to do a little experiment and go and blow a little weed into the faces of the raccoons, see if they eat more.
Well, you can come over and you can try.
I cannot. I will not, Rick. I will not.
Let me get to they're saying too many dispensaries in my town.
Yeah.
They ever get upset because when they put a new bar in? I guess not. I bet you they don't say, "Oh my God, there's another bar in town. What's going on?"
Right.
I mean, do they realize how many people are dying every day? And also, they're smoking on the street. Well, what do you think they got those little paper bags for?
There's a lot less. There's a lot less drinking on the streets than there is.
No,
I mean,
really, you think everybody going by with a paper bag?
I don't see I don't see the paper bags as much anymore. I don't really. I don't. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, okay.
Nah, I really don't. But thank you, Rick. Thank you, buddy. I want to make sure we get to everybody before we do our interview. But yes, I don't really see the drinking out there. I just don't. I think the weed is just a. And the other thing that really does disturb me is I see people who are like at work. I mean, that's another thing too. Yes, the days of the Mad Men martini lunches, that's over. Like, people, they might have wine. I think there is a frowning on drinking during working hours these days. But, there's delivery people out there smoking with like we just heard somebody talking about the pizza delivery, but Amazon delivery. And again, I remember when I had like an actual regular day job a few years ago and I was walking through the city from Grand Central to an office, at like 7:15 in the morning. I realized that I was smelling a ton of weed, as I walked past a couple of different construction jobs. These guys, steel workers, glass workers, glaziers, I don't know, but they were waiting for those elevators to go up in those buildings. There are skyscrapers in Manhattan that were built by people who are getting high. That cannot be a good thing. That cannot be a good thing. Let's go to Robert, North Carolina, line 4. Good morning.
Good morning, TJ.
Hey, how are you?
I could speak on the subject as a recreational user and someone who self-medicated years ago.
Okay.
When I was in my teens and 20s, I had depression.
Okay.
So smoking weed was good for that. It gave me a mental boost without knocking me out like drinking would,
right?
Making me stupid and sloppy. And also it was good for creative pursuits like writing poetry, drawing in colored pencil.
Right.
So it was therapeutic for me.
Did it help you? And I'm not cutting you off. I'm just curious. Did it actually help you get to the root cause, or did it just put a Band-Aid on it? Were you able to ultimately address what was depressing you and causing you anxiety, or well, you didn't say anxiety, but did you get to what was bothering you, or did this just mask it?
Yes, I did.
Good. Okay, cool.
And then once that happened, I began to smoke less.
Cool.
And then it became like for years intermittent. Like once in a while, I'd have some smoke. And it could be social, or it could be because I felt like it.
Sure.
I wanted to listen to some music and write some poetry. Or sit on a beach or in the woods and draw a drawing.
Nice.
With a colored pencil. All right. When I was in my early 40s, I got asthma, adult asthma, from a water-damaged, mold-infested building, a house that I rented.
Damn.
So by the time I was 46, smoking weed would give me an asthma attack. I could not smoke it anymore. Yep.
So it's over. So it's over now. So you just don't anymore.
Well, I tried it since then because after, and also talking about addiction, it was something that 46, after being a smoker a lot of times daily, I'd be take it or leave it. And
well, that happens.
I just dropped, just stopped smoking it.
Were you a drinker as well?
I didn't want to have the asthma attack.
Well, that'll definitely put a dent in your weed use, of course. But now these days, but these days you can get gummies. Listen to me, the alcoholic, trying to tell the guy who gets asthma attacks from smoking weed. I'm like, hey, listen, Robert, don't forget, you can get gummies, you can get edibles, you can put the. I'm like, why you gotta get high, man? Get high. I can't, right, so now, you gotta.
Since then, I've lost my childhood friend of 45 years. I've known him since 6th grade. He had a good business in Seattle. He was making his own hot sauces and things. Yeah.
How did he pass away?
Well, he got into tax trouble. And he became depressed.
Oh, no.
Then he started doing meth.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yes. And what happens is the dealers, all kinds of street drugs, and they cut whatever the drug is with fentanyl to make you more addicted.
Oh, 100%. And so your buddy died of an overdose?
Yes, he did.
Oofa. And he was not a kid, right? I mean, he was your age. He was like, how old is he?
At the time, he was like 53.
Oh my God! And you see, people don't necessarily associate that kind of drug use with somebody our age. Wow,
now, it's so bad.
I got a boogie, bad. Rob. But go ahead. Finish up.
It's so bad now that I'm afraid if I tried weed to see, which I have this once or a couple times, to see that if it worked on the arthritis that I have now.
Right. Oh, I'm sure. And I mean, look, that's part of the thing but that's the cannabis oil and all that stuff. I got to run, Robert, but thank you for the good conversation, good exchange of ideas. All right. You know what? We're going to keep going with these calls, and we'll get to our interview in the next hour because this thing just keeps on cooking. So when we come back, we've got John, Nat, Pete and Jeff, when we return here on Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack on the Red Apple Audio Networks. We shall return.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
And we're going right along here on Another Side of Midnight. It's me, TJ, and we are all around the country on the Red Apple Audio Networks, and you can listen to us all over the ding-dang world on WABCRadio.com. And good morning. Really grateful that you're here. Grateful to have this conversation. We're talking about, Trump who's floating the notion that he might next month or soon, sometime next week, could be gonna reclassify marijuana, THC, cannabis, cannabinoids, neonicotinoids from it's a class 1 drug, and they're going to reclassify it and make it decriminalize it at the federal level. And I mean, put it this way. I'm sober. I don't expect people to be teetotalers. I buy wine for my wife. I enjoy when I see people enjoying themselves. And I get the idea of kicking back. I get the idea of taking the edge off. I understand it. And I was just going to say I miss it. I guess I miss it. But in a million years, because I'm an addict, I would never go back to it. But in the morning, when I go straight to the gym, like a good sober dude, when I go straight to the gym, and this morning, yesterday morning, Friday morning, straight to the gym, way early, stupid, shut up your mouth, I hate everything early. Especially when it's cold out. The entire time that I'm lifting weights, not like you're like tough guy lifting weights, but trying to give somewhat definition to my girly arms. No offense to girls. But the entire time that I'm lifting weights, all I'm thinking about is finally having coffee. It's what drives me out of it. Because yes, I'm addicted to the nicotine. And yes, as I've said, I've got any Diet Coke enthusiasts know exactly what that sound is. There's my Diet Coke. There's my mind-altering substance for the show. So I admit it. I too am in pursuit. None of us are perfect, but there is nothing that's inebriating about the Diet Coke. There's, the coffee. And am I a complete hypocrite? Feel free to call up and just say I'm a hypocrite. It's okay. It's okay to call up and say I'm a hypocrite. Or that I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. Whatever you want to say. But as much as I'm cool with people getting high or getting drunk. I'm cool with the idea. It's okay. My problem is there's just something more. And again, this is just my perception, and I'm being honest. I'm just telling you how it strikes me. When it comes to the weed, there's just much more of a dummying. I do believe that people who smoke weed are, yes, they're out there. They're smoking more. They're smoking more throughout the day. They're picking up a joint. They're taking a few hits. They're putting it down. They're coming back to it. They're absolutely doing more weed than non-alcohol, non-addict drinkers. Non-addict drinkers. People smoking weed are getting high and maintaining a high more than just recreational non-addict drinkers. 1-800-848-9222. Let's get over to Rick in Jersey. Rick, good morning. Welcome. Thanks for hanging on.
Yeah, good morning, TJ.
Hi there.
And the raccoonies send their regards.
Hello
anyway.
to the raccoonies. Hello.
Yes. Anyway, respectfully, you are being a little hypocritical.
Okay.
And I got a couple little things here. I'll go real quick.
Sure.
Don't cut me off, please.
No, you got it.
Okay. First of all, he's changing it as a legal thing because do you realize right now, if I have a marijuana cigarette in my pocket and I step across the state line to New York, I am now a felon. I am now put in the same category as that lady that stabbed that lady in the back in Macy's. I am a felon. I can go to jail for years. Do you think that's right? No. Especially for something that's legal that you buy and pay taxes on.
Right.
Now, the people that are calling up, respectfully again, you all sound like the temperance people did in the 20s, beating the drum.
Admittedly,
you know?
yes.
Yeah, and you realize what happened when we did that. When we made something illegal that people wanted to do, it became out of control. That's what started organized crime. That's why people were dying from bathtub gin. The only way to keep track of anything people want to do is you make it legal and make laws that kind of restrict it. And people will follow laws if you let them do what they want to do.
Right.
But when you say you can't do it, now there's no law at all. Now it's go for anything.
Right.
Now, you realize that in my life, 5 or 6 close people in my life died from alcohol, not from pot.
Right.
I've never known anyone in my life, he died from using pot. It doesn't happen. It's literally impossible to die from an overdose of pot. And you can look that up. You throw up, that's all that happens.
But can't the quality of their life be sort of numbed? You know what I mean? And people haven't died, but, people don't die, although we're going to be certainly probably, listen to me. I would imagine we're going to start seeing, more, traffic accidents and therefore more deaths due to,
then do we stop
No.
people from drinking? How many accidents happen because of alcohol?
Well,
and you
loads.
yourself,
Yes.
you said you buy wine for your wife. You're not buying non-alcoholic wine, are you?
No, I'm buying wine.
Because she enjoys that. All right.
Yeah.
Well, she can drink responsibly. Well, people can smoke responsibly.
Yes.
But because the law says that you're a felon, that he's making it so people don't go to jail for something innocuous. And people say, it's so much stronger now. Well, yeah, that's what happened when they made they started to distill alcohol. They didn't make that illegal because they realized people aren't drinking 16-ounce glasses of whiskey. They're drinking 1 little ounce glass of whiskey.
Right.
The same thing with pot. It's much stronger, so you just take much less. It's actually healthier for you because you don't have to smoke a whole joint. You smoke 3 puffs. That's it. I mean,
have you ever blown a little into the faces of the raccoons?
No, I don't believe in getting animals high, except on catnip. If they ask me for it, sure. But
I think it'd be interesting for you to do a little experiment and go and blow a little weed into the faces of the raccoons, see if they eat more.
Well, you can come over and you can try.
I cannot. I will not, Rick. I will not.
Let me get to they're saying too many dispensaries in my town.
Yeah.
They ever get upset because when they put a new bar in?
Mm-hmm.
I guess not. I bet you they don't say, "Oh my God, there's another bar in town. What's going on?"
Right.
You know, I mean, do they realize how many people are dying every day? And also, they're smoking on the street. Mm-hmm. Well, what do you think they got those little paper bags for?
There's a lot less. There's a lot less drinking on the streets than there is.
No,
I mean, the
really,
weed.
You think everybody going by with a paper bag?
I don't see I don't see the paper bags as much anymore. I don't really. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, okay.
Nah, I really don't. But thank you, Rick. Thank you, buddy. I want to make sure we get to everybody before we do our interview. But yes, I don't really see the drinking out there. I just don't. I think the weed is just a. And the other thing that really does disturb me is I see people who are like at work. I mean, that's another thing too. Yes, the days of the Mad Men martini lunches, that's over. Like, people, they might have wine. I think there is a frowning on drinking during working hours these days. But, there's delivery people out there smoking, like we just heard somebody talking about the pizza delivery, but Amazon delivery. And again, I remember when I had like an actual regular day job a few years ago, and I was walking through the city from Grand Central to an office at like 7:15 in the morning. I realized that I was smelling a ton of weed. As I walked past a couple of different construction jobs. These guys, steel workers, glass workers, glaziers, I don't know, but they were waiting for those elevators to go up in those buildings. There are skyscrapers in Manhattan that were built by people who are getting high. That cannot be a good thing. That cannot be a good thing. Let's go to Robert, North Carolina, line 4. Good morning.
Good morning, TJ.
Hey, how are you?
I could speak on the subject as a recreational user and someone who self-medicated years ago.
Okay.
When I was in my teens and 20s, I had depression.
Okay.
So smoking weed was good for that. It gave me a mental boost without knocking me out like drinking would,
right?
And making me stupid and sloppy. And also, it was good for creative pursuits like writing poetry, drawing in colored pencil.
All right.
So it was therapeutic for me.
Did it help you? And I'm not cutting you off. I'm just curious. Did it actually help you get to the root cause, or did it just put a Band-Aid on it? Were you able to ultimately address what was depressing you and causing you anxiety, or you didn't say anxiety, but did you get to what was bothering you, or did this just mask it?
Yes, I did.
Good. Okay, cool.
And then once that happened, I began to smoke less.
Cool.
And then it became like for years intermittent. Like once in a while I'd have some smoke. And it could be social, or it could be because I felt like it.
Sure.
I wanted to listen to some music and write some poetry. Or sit on a beach or in the woods and draw a drawing.
Nice.
With a colored pencil. All right. When I was in my early 40s, I got asthma, adult asthma, from a water-damaged, mold-infested building, a house that I rented.
Damn.
So by the time I was 46, smoking weed would give me an asthma attack. I could not smoke it anymore. Yep.
So it's over. So it's over now. So you just don't anymore.
Well, I tried it since then because after, and also talking about addiction, it was something that 46, after being a smoker a lot of times daily, I'd be take it or leave it. And
that happens.
I just dropped, just stopped smoking it.
Were you a drinker as well?
I didn't want to have the asthma attack.
Well, that'll definitely put a dent in your weed use, of course. But now these days, but these days you can get gummies. Listen to me, the alcoholic trying to tell the guy who gets asthma attacks from smoking weed. I'm like, hey, listen, Robert, don't forget, you can get gummies, you can get edibles, you can put the, I'm like, why you gotta get high, man, get high. I can't, right, so now, you gotta.
Since then, I've lost my childhood friend of 45 years. I know him since 6th grade. Mm-hmm. He had a good business in Seattle. Mm-hmm. He was making his own hot sauces and things. Yeah.
How did he pass away?
Well, he got into tax trouble.
Ooh.
And he became depressed.
Oh, no.
Then he started doing meth.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yes. And what happens is the dealers, all kinds of street drugs, and they cut whatever the drug is with fentanyl to make you more addicted.
Oh, 100%. And so your buddy died of an overdose?
Yes, he did.
Oof. And he was not a kid, right? I mean, he was your age. He was like, how old is he?
At the time, he was like 53.
Oh, my God. And you see, people don't necessarily associate that kind of drug use with somebody our age. Wow.
Now, it's so bad.
I got a
so
boogie,
bad.
Rob, but go ahead. Finish up your
It's so
thought.
bad now that I'm afraid if I tried weed to see, which I have this once or a couple times, to see that if it worked on the arthritis that I have now.
Right. Oh, I'm sure. And I mean, look, that's part of the thing but that's the cannabis oil and all that stuff. I got to run, Robert, but thank you for the good conversation, good exchange of ideas. All right. You know what? We're going to keep going with these calls, and we'll get to our interview in the next hour because this thing just keeps on cooking. So when we come back, we've got John, Nat, Pete and Jeff, when we return here on Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack on the Red Apple Audio Networks. We shall return.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
We took the girls, my wife and I took the girls into the city earlier this week, brought them into Manhattan, and nobody was stabbed. Nobody was set on fire, so it was a good day. It was a good trip into the city. Our girls were not attacked or fondled or groped. Nobody was pushed in front of a taxi. We were not, there was no blood drawn. It was good. It was good. Good overall. And we saw the tree. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Oh my God. Nobody was set on fire and the girls enjoyed the Rockettes. It's a great Christmas in New York City. Yes, we will continue. So, again, coming up, we're going to talk about, tomorrow. Tomorrow. I am so proud of tomorrow's program. This program this morning is in its own right, is fantastic. You guys have been raising the level of that. Tomorrow's program, y'all are going to have to be on your toes to keep up with tomorrow's. I'll tell you why. We're going to bring him back to the program, Vinnie Tolman, the fella who died. He died in Vegas. If you remember from a few months ago, he was on the program. We're bringing him back. Vinnie Tolman died in the restroom of a Dairy Queen. That sounds like the beginning of a Quentin Tarantino film, or the end, or the middle. It could be in any portion of any Quentin Tarantino film, frankly. And Vinny woke up, if you will, hours later, in a body bag. Okay? He had an experience. He had a journey like you've never heard before. And we're going to talk about that. What happens on the other side? Vinny now coaches people on understanding their next life experience for people who have who want to embrace the notion of passing on, and people who have had near death or death and then coming back from death experiences. And so we're going to talk to Vinny on Sunday morning. And then a very, very cool guest. There's a fella in London, and he's a social media content creator. And on Instagram, he goes by Pickpocket London. Now, he's not a pickpocket. This guy is kind of a modern day Robin Hood-ish. He doesn't rob from the rich and give to the poor. But what this fella does, Pickpocket London, he is a one-man, peaceful, loud, causes a ruckus, but he's a peaceful vigilante who points out, shouts out, identifies, and in some cases, with a non-toxic paint, spray paints pickpockets and petty thieves in London. And he's got like 500,000 followers on social, at least on one channel on social media. And he's blown up everywhere. I think he might, if it's not his American media debut, this is like one of his earliest appearances. I don't think he's been on TV in America. And I'm quite certain he has not been on radio in America. I believe it's his first American radio appearance. So anyway, look, it's not Prince Andrew, okay? It's not earth shaking, but it's very cool stuff. This guy is really something else. And he's a very, very cool character. And so Pickpocket London, I'll get you his actual name. Diego is his name. Diego Galdino. Diego Galdino. He'll be talking to us live from London Sunday morning. Okay, let's go to John in Hell's Kitchen. John, line 1. Good morning.
Good morning, TJ.
Hey.
Merry Christmas to all.
Yes, Merry Christmas. Thanks for reminding me to say that. Merry Christmas.
You're very. A lot more people should be saying it. But that's just my opinion.
Nope, me too. I agree.
All right, here's my deal.
Go, baby.
42 years sober from it all.
Boom.
It should be 42 years dead.
But did it all. You. I hear you.
Did it all.
Mm-hmm.
And I smoked like a Rastafarian, man. I bought into all the herbal and medicinal and natural. We got a problem, TJ. We got a big problem. I live in Hell's Kitchen. I stand on my stoop. Today I had one of those like Frank Capra days. I walked all around New York.
I love it.
And all you could smell was weed. It wasn't the Christmas trees. It was weed.
Right.
And there is a real problem here. And, you know, I'm a big fan of Rastafari. I'm a big fan of I'm a big fan of Donald Trump's.
You like Trump?
I do like Trump, and I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to contend with Bob. Although I love Bob.
Go ahead.
I love Bob. Tough Gong. I love Bob.
Tough Gong.
Anyway,
listen to you. Go ahead.
Man. Listen. Come on. I was part of that generation. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, die young, leave a pretty corpse.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people are misunderstanding, like that gentleman that called about three calls ago and says nobody. I had a friend who smoked so much weed he flipped out, went to the Marriott Marquis, and jumped 46 floors into the lobby.
Jesus Christ!
So people are dying from it because if you're mentally unbalanced and then you just get to a point with a paranoid, and the weed that I smoked when I was a kid, I got arrested. I was one of the first people arrested at Nassau Veterans Coliseum. The Grateful Dead.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The night Pigpen McKiernan died, and they didn't know if the dead was go on.
Wow.
I'm standing there with a carburetor mask on. Somebody taps me on the shoulder. I'm like, hey, I just got it. And it was the Nassau County cops off the jail Rockefeller law. So what I'm saying here is that we do have a big problem, and I'm afraid because the midterms are coming and everyone's getting nervous and everyone's looking for an angle. I'm afraid that somebody in Donald Trump, who I respect and I think is doing a good job in his administration, got in his ear and said, a lot of these people will vote.
You're with me. I'm with you, John. Go ahead.
A lot of these people will vote. And you know, I live right on 10th Avenue, 44th, and around the corner there's a school called the Beacon High School, the best and the brightest, supposedly, right? And there was a weed shop right on the corner. And when they first opened it, and I was watching these kids, and I don't want to be a hypocrite. I can't be a hypocrite because I did it all, man.
Sure.
I have people, I recently had a family reunion where half of the people there said, you're the first guy that handed me a doob, man. I mean, it's the truth. I can't be a hypocrite.
I get it.
Can't be a hypocrite, but we do have a problem. Nikita Khrushchev, 1962, said, we'll get you from within. They got us from within. The Trojan horse is here, and it's all green with, like, red hairs in it. It's like a centimillion Trojan horse. And we got a problem here because I see these people, and being an ex-stoner, and you're a person who speaks about your sobriety, and listen, we're just on a daily reprieve,
That's
man.
all.
I mean,
just a daily
reprieve. Like at any moment, if I open my hallway door now here, the demons are out in the hallway playing that Bob Marley music going, yo, let's go. Let's go. Come on.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
But what I want to say is that I see some of these people, and I'm just doing a sociological overview and watching them. They're on psychotropic drugs, gummy bears, smoking weed, maybe a couple of drinks, driving a bus.
It's really something.
It's a systematic problem that needs to be, and the thing that gets me, like I said, I can't throw a brick at the window because I've had to have that window replaced 50 times because I threw cinder blocks. But being 42 years sober by the grace of God, and the blessing, and just having that moment, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. And, you know, I know a lot of people go, hey, like, I used to have a lot of friends that were into heroin. They're like, I just maintain on the weekend. No. No. There ain't no maintaining with the devil's dandruff, you know?
Hey, let me ask you, John, just very quickly, what, if you don't mind my asking, I'm curious, what do you do for a living? What have you done for a living?
I am an actor. I am a writer. And I am an artist. As a matter of fact, if you don't mind me saying, I wrote a book. It's called Stoop to Conquer, and it's about this very subject. It's about a kid coming of age in Hell's Kitchen who's trying to figure out how to stay alive and not end up being found dead on a rooftop.
Whoa! Are you on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it?
No, I'm a Luddite. I have no use for the tricks of modern times. But my book is available on Amazon, and I'm not doing a pitch here. It's you know, when I wrote this book, and I'm an actor. My name is John Michael Bolger. I don't mind giving my full name, and I've had a nice career. And when I wrote this book, I remember one time I went to one of these interviews, and they asked me, what do you want out of this book? And I said, if this book can save one kid, that's all I want.
That's worth it.
I don't want a movie deal. I don't want a Netflix deal. I don't want a house in the Hamptons. I want to be able to talk to one kid and say, remember the movie Shawshank Redemption?
Absolutely.
When they asked Morgan Freeman, what would you say to that kid? I try in my own way, and you do, because I listen to you, and I'm sure you do in your life. I try in my own way without not being too preachy, too overbearing, too heavy. I try to just put little seeds into them, like many people did for me.
Yeah.
Like, just be careful here. Like, I come from the era with a friend with weed is a friend indeed. And you remember that, right?
Sure. I mean, look, and listen, and I'm getting good practice with my daughters. John, I got to jump, but I'm gonna find you elsewhere so we can talk. And to you. Merry Christmas. God bless. There he goes. That's an interesting character there. There he is. Interesting cat. It is 39 minutes past the hour here on another side of midnight with me, TJ, on the Red Apple Audio Networks. Let's get over to Nat in the Bronx. Nat, good morning.
Yes, good morning. So apart from more interesting, your last caller was more anecdotal in terms of his relationship to
everybody's
to weed.
different.
And,
everybody's different.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
But with regard to Americans and drug abuse,
yes, sir.
I think that you will never correct the problem of drug addiction with criminal penalties, and let me tell you, because economically, when you have a market, you're not going to get rid of the market by getting rid of the supply. There'll always be a demand. There'll always be people.
History has proved that, right? You're right. History has proved that, and I think somebody earlier brought up prohibition, and so yes, I can't argue. So go ahead. Sorry.
And yes, in addition. Drug prohibition since the Nixon administration has really had a deleterious effect on the criminal justice system insofar as that we already have a massive problem with regard to mass incarceration. Many people who are incarcerated now, we have over 2 million people who are incarcerated. Many of them are there for nonviolent drug offenses. And locking somebody up because they have a medical issue, which is what drug addiction is, and they haven't committed any other crime is not only stupid, it's counterproductive and a waste of resources. And additionally, with regard to the criminal justice system, drug prohibition has perverted the criminal justice system insofar as that it's focused primarily on black and brown communities. And we already have a massive, disproportionate, disparate impact against people of color in the criminal justice system, not only for drug offenses, but in general. When you look at the reality is that most drug addicts, most people who are actively addicted to substances are actually white Americans. And, cocaine, for example, white Americans are twice as likely as blacks to be cocaine addicts, but blacks, conversely, are twice as likely to be incarcerated for cocaine offenses than white Americans are.
Yeah. Well, I guess you get caught selling it as opposed to, sniffing it. You probably, you know what I mean? What do you think about how New York State went about the handing out of licenses for these dispensaries to primarily to people who had been incarcerated for drug dealing? What do you think about that? I thought that was a curious move on their part, almost like some sort of reparations.
And I think it is a sort of like a way to compensate for the disproportionate number of blacks and Hispanics have been arrested for selling drugs. It's not that they sell more drugs than white Americans do. As I pointed out, there are more white drug addicts than there are black and Hispanic drug addicts. It's just that, again,
there's more white people. I mean, there's more white people.
Right. But it's not just simply because they have a larger percentage of the population. For whatever reason, like cocaine, for example, they have a greater tendency towards drug addiction in addition to absolute numbers of drug addicts. So I don't know why that is. I have no idea why that is.
I don't know. Look, I mean, it's who knows? Cultural, could be cultural, could be probably cultural, man. It's probably, honestly, so much of it comes down to what people do in your circle. You know what I mean? Nat, I got to jump because I got to get to a break, but I'm grateful for your call, and anecdotal or not, that was great stuff. And you certainly brought it with the with the numbers and the references. So thank you, Nat in the Bronx. I'm grateful. 1-800-848-9222. We're talking about reclassification of marijuana at the federal level. We're talking about some real interesting stuff here. People, you guys know your drugs. Let's go to Jeff in Brooklyn Heights. Jeff, good morning.
Thank you for taking my call.
Of
I just
course.
want to make a few quick observations.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you something.
Yes.
I'm in Brooklyn Heights, Rolls-Royce land, the money here.
Yes.
There is a high-end pot shop that's been established in Brooklyn Heights. There's a lot of controversy about it. Let me ask you something.
Yes, sir.
How many pot shops and how much pot use there is in Peking? How many pot shops are there and how much pot use there is in Moscow? 0. Okay? Third of all, I'm a 9/11 victim. My office was at 170 Broadway at Maiden Lane on that day.
Yes.
You can imagine what happened to my lungs. Okay?
Sure.
You can imagine what happened to my airways. This is not only one person.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands, right?
Certainly.
Okay, now,
Certainly.
as I walk down the street and I walk into a cloud of this stuff, what about my rights? What about the rights of everybody that has airway disease of any kind? You know what? Their rights don't count? Really? That's the way we work this country now? Really? I get the point. So it's politically correct, and it's just groovy. Everybody was in, the 60s. It's just groovy, generating pot smoke. And it's what you say is very true. You're walking down the street at 7 o'clock in the morning on a cold morning, and you're inundated with this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay? And the thing is that if you think that is in rocket fuel compared to what I had, what I saw in the 60s, it's unbelievably stronger. It's also laced with God knows what.
Right, including fentanyl.
All that is getting into my injured lungs. Why?
And meanwhile, you can't smoke a cigarette in a park. You can't. People up until the legalization of weed, people would turn their nose up if you deigned to light a cigarette on the corner of 49th and 6th Avenue. If you lit a cigarette up out in front of your office building, people were condemning you just for being a smoker of anything. Now people are lighting up and getting high and stinking up the corner and stinking up underneath the scaffolding and stinking up in the park and stinking up, So yeah, it's a quality of life issue. It's a legalized broken windows issue. And it's unfortunate.
It's a health issue.
And it's a health issue.
What about all the people? It's a health issue.
Yes.
It's a health issue with hundreds of thousands of people that were exposed to damn 9/11.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't count, really?
No, I'm with you, buddy. All right. Thank you.
How much of this is going on in Peking?
Yeah.
How much of this is going on in Moscow?
None.
Zero.
And Peking is still Peking? You're right. None, Jeff. None. You got it. All right. Let's take our break. And when we come back, we'll get to Pete and Kirk and we'll work our way to the top of the hour and roll on along on Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack on the Red Apple Audio Networks.
It's Another Side of Midnight, 77 WABC. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
I'm TJ McCormack, and I am so grateful to be joined by Danny Sheehan, who is telling us this incredible story about his search for answers from the Vatican, his access decades ago to the Vatican's extensive historical archives about their knowledge of UFOs, UAPs, alien life throughout the universe, all on behalf of a special investigative committee from the United States Congress. So, Danny, we're back. And I guess, as you're telling me this story, I just keep imagining that first moment when you were, and again, you were well respected. You had been around the world and back, even as a young guy. I mean, you were this young lawyer, just with a great background already and an incredible Rolodex and reputation. But it's a whole different level when you're about to, go into the archives of the Vatican.
Well, what happened is I ended up meeting directly with Johann Ix, who was the head of the Vatican archives directly. He ended up sort of starting this negotiation with me, saying, look, what he wanted me to do to begin with, since he knew that I was one of the attorneys for the New York Times in the Pentagon Papers case, that he wanted me to write a letter to the editor of the New York Times to have it published, calling upon the Vatican to open the portion of the archives having to do with Pope Pius XII. And Pope Pius XII is the one who signed the Concordat with Mussolini and with the fascists, and agreed not to oppose them. And he had taken loads of shit, as you might have guessed, over that. And the bottom line is that they wanted me to do this gesture of calling upon the Vatican to open the archives of Pius XII, so that people could see that he, in fact, had gone to some length to try to save hundreds and thousands of Jewish people, to try to offset the accusations against him. I agreed to do that. I wrote the letter for them, submitted it to them. He still wouldn't agree to let me have access to the archives. I talked with Jose Gabriel Funes, who was the Jesuit priest, who was the director of the Vatican observatory, right, and he ended up issuing a public statement, an official statement, asserting the following: that he said that in light of the discovery of more and more of these new exoplanets, that it has now become clear that much sooner than had been previously anticipated, our human family is going to discover life elsewhere in our universe. And therefore, the time has arrived for us all to begin the profoundly important discussion to discuss the profound philosophical and theological questions that are posed to our human family by the discovery of life elsewhere in the universe. Now, he issued that official public statement from the Vatican press office. And when I talked with him face to face about it, he said, look, Danny, he said, we're not talking here about the discovery merely of some single cell life form beneath some frozen sea on some distant moon, orbiting some distant star in a far off galaxy. He said, we're talking about another highly intelligent and highly technologically developed but distinctly non-human species right here in our Milky Way galaxy. That's what he said. Okay.
Yeah.
And so the bottom line is I'd already seen the photographs, so I knew that they were real. And I ended up being reached out to by Dr. John Mack at Harvard because, I graduated from the college. I graduated from the law school. I'd gone to do my master's and PhD work in comparative social ethics at the Harvard Divinity School. So I was pretty well versed at Harvard University. So John Mack contacted me because it turns out he was the person to whom the United States Defense Department was ordering high-level military officials who insisted upon getting briefed on the UFO issue. Because they had seen a UFO and they had encountered UFOs and that they were trying to get them investigated. And the first thing that happened is the Defense Department ordered them to go get a psychiatric exam.
Wow.
That was, and we've now recovered through the Freedom of Information Act, the official internal documents that show that this was an actual official policy of the United States Defense Department and the Central Intelligence Agency to try to suppress any effort on the part of any military people, demanding information about UFOs or trying to report a contact with UFOs. And so Dr. John Mack, the head of the Department of Clinical Psychiatry at Harvard Medical School, is the person to whom many of them were sent to get this psychiatric exam.
Right.
And Dr. Mack, after having interviewed several of these top-level people, he was astonished at the information that they had.
Right.
And he said, I ran all the tests on these people, and they were totally within the normal parameters of psychiatric health, and yet they were all insisting upon telling the story about these UFOs. And so he began to inquire about this and started interviewing citizens, regular citizens, very prominent citizens who believed that they had direct face-to-face contact with UFO occupants. And he wrote a book about it. He actually wrote a paper which he submitted to the New England Journal of Medicine about this extraordinary phenomenon. And the dean of the university, the dean of the medical school, hauled him up in front of a faculty committee and threatened to basically take away his tenure if he didn't shut up.
So
stop talking about this.
So Danny, so while all this is going on, while all this is happening at Harvard and within the military and with your groups and with the Vatican, so the Vatican makes this big pronunciation from the Vatican press office. Yep. What exactly were they talking about? What did you see? What did you learn? What does the Vatican have? What do they have in layman's terms? Where in there is it everything from photographs to, is there parchment? How far back does this knowledge and understanding go? When was the first time that the Vatican found itself receiving information about this sort of thing?
What they've been willing to allow to me to see so far is the fact that there has been discussion. Giordano Bruno, back in the 15th century, was writing publicly about the fact that he was convinced that there was extraterrestrial beings on other planets. And it turns out there's a whole lot of writings that are in the Vatican archives that had to do with what they call with the many worlds theory. Many worlds. That's what they refer to, that there are many worlds in our galaxy where there are intelligent beings. And Giordano Bruno wrote about it. It turns out that Copernicus believed that this was true as well, and that during the trials that the Vatican undertook against these people to try to suppress them talking about this, they have records of what the writings were of these people who had recorded instances in which people had believed that they have seen a craft, or that they had developed theories based in their observation of the planets and the way they moved, etc. That there had to be these other worlds, and so that the only thing that they'd been willing to release prior to the statement, where they issued that statement, was that there were writings in the Vatican archives about the many worlds theory.
Are we actually capable of that? Are we capable of that discussion? I mean, because the discussion, if it goes to full fruition, if it goes all the way, the conversation is, if we're to believe that, if we as the faithful, or people who are friends of the faithful who believe, if we're to believe that God created life, capital L, life, singular, no explanation, no further descriptors, just that God created life, then we're going to need some guidance as to whether or not we're supposed to say, was that life on Earth? Was that this realm? Or like if it was to be put to me, I'd have to start saying, well, wait a minute. I think I'd like to believe that means that God created that life, those lives, those alien lives, and all of that other in the other worlds. Would that be the biggest philosophical / theological question, is to what is God's role in all this? When we say God created life, did he create those lives?
No. The biggest theological question is, what is God?
Oh boy!
and that's what they're afraid of going near.
And let me ask you this:
the reality is,
go ahead.
Jesuits know that God is not a white male anthropomorphic human being sitting on the throne somewhere with a scepter,
right?
Judging people,
right?
Okay, and we know that Jesus Christ is not the biological son of God the Father.
Right.
We know that God is not a male.
Right.
We know that, in fact, God is not a noun.
Right.
Not only not a person like that, but not a noun.
Mm-hmm.
So that the probing of this issue of what is God, what is it that is really being talked about by the mystical beings who are the source of spiritual vision on the part of our human family. What are they talking about here?
Right.
Okay.
Given what the profound stuff that you just laid on us about what these questions are, to be able to grasp, not because we're dumb and it's science and it's theology and it's the meeting of some of these massive fronts of intelligence and consciousness and faith, but just our ability to handle a subject like this, we might as well be not able to read or write. I mean, I honestly. Listen, I've got to take one more break here, and then we're going to come back, and I'm going to ask you to just stick around a little bit, and then I'll let you go.
All night long, this is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack,
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
Good morning, gang. Hello there. Another side of midnight on another Saturday morning, leading into a cold Saturday, and then Sunday, which is Sunday evening, the beginning of Hanukkah. So happy Hanukkah to all who celebrate. Let's get over to Kirk on Staten Island. Kirk, good morning.
Hey, listen, I want to dispel a myth.
Okay.
All right. Because they talk about gateway drugs.
Yes, sir.
All right? Marijuana was a gateway drug. My first drug was a cigarette.
Certainly.
You know, and I've been smoking now for 54 years. But it's become more than an addiction because it's just something that he's so used to doing. And, you know, I mean, but no, when they say marijuana is a gateway drug, no, because I started with the cigarette. Then I started smoking weed. Then I started drinking.
And so, do you still smoke cigarettes?
Yes, I still smoke.
Do you have?
Years.
How old are you?
67.
So, any? Are you disease free? Have you made it all this time without contracting anything terrible, or do you have some?
No, I don't. I think I have COPD.
COPD.
Man. I'm suffering from that. My breathing is, but like I just said, it's not so much the addiction, but after you're doing something for so long. It just becomes a part.
It's a behavioral thing. It's a ritual. It just becomes a part of you. Becomes a part of your personality. When I was drinking when I was drinking alcoholically, my drink of choice.
I'm an alcoholic also.
Oh, are you? Okay. Good.
I still drink. Yes, I still drink. You know, but I started smoking when I was 15.
Wow.
And I started drinking when I was 15.
Oof. Well, they go hand in hand, don't they?
Huh?
What do you do for a living? What did you do for a living in your life?
Oh, I did construction. But I did like construction work, roping and stuff. I can't get on a roof. I won't go on a roof today. Not today.
No, I wouldn't think so. My God, one coughing fit in your Gonzville, right? Well, thank you, Kirk. Thank you, man. It's interesting to hear you, to literally hear you and hear what 56 years of doing that will do. And what's funny is the addict in me. Here we're already kind of almost into that hour, but the addict in me, I hear that, okay, the COPD is scary enough that Kirk is dealing with, but when I hear that, no cancer after, 56 years of smoking, and I swear to God, I sit here, I go, I had to quit because my luck, I would have gotten cancer. I quit. Damn it. I haven't had a cigarette and so, I'm thinking Kirk is lucky because he doesn't have, no diagnosis. God, addicts are nuts. I am out of my mind. 1-800-848-9222. Let's see. We talked to Kirk. Let's get up to, we'll go to Pete in Staten Island. Pete famously Pete worked for SNL. You must have seen everything coming and going there, Pete. They wrote the book, baby. They wrote the book.
I seen everything, and I dated the most beautiful women in music.
I know. Listen, you know what? It's funny. Tony just raised his hands as if to say, we know, but you know what? If I dated the women that Pete claims to have dated, I'm going to say claim because I don't have proof, but Pete has come on this program, and over the months, we have found out that Pete dated everyone from Stevie Nicks to Carly Simon to Debbie Harry. I mean, honestly, the most stunning, sexy, talented, bodacious women in all the land. Tony, if these are true, I'd be bragging every Saturday and Sunday morning. I'd be calling the idiot on the radio. Go ahead, Pete.
Well, I didn't date Stevie Nicks because
you should have. She should have. What she's missing. Go ahead.
We hung out, we partied and everything. But you see, I stayed straight with the drugs. It was all around the place. I mean, it was like going to church, bowl full of everybody stop in from Jack Nicholson. But that was the place.
Were you there with the original cast?
Yes, I was.
So, you had to be, yeah.
George Carlin. I came in like one.
Jesus. So that was the first episode. But so Belushi, nice guy.
Great guy with me, but he had moods. He took that Samurai song one time and he went into the Today Show studio, which was on the third floor, and he chopped up vase that was priceless. And Laura Michaels took care of everything. He goes, put it on my account. And that's what it protected. Everybody was party land. And by me staying straight when I was working, I got all the key jobs, because
and the key dates.
Oh, the key dates. It was great, because
Jane Curtin, she was straight as an arrow, wasn't she? Jane Curtin, straight, right?
Danny Aykroyd used to sell cars on the side. It was funny. He'd be, this is Dan Aykroyd. I got a nice Chevy convertible for you. And that was his pastime. You see, if you had things to do, you stayed cool.
Yeah.
But if you didn't party like an animal, I mean, Belushi would his weights would verify. The wardrobe people used to go crazy. You had signs up, wear underwear, because John, forget it. He eats so much that he'd be defecating himself.
Ew, my yuck! That's terrible. That's awful. And what about Chevy Chase? Nice guy or arrogant?
Oh, but he Chevy was only there for a year. Everybody thinks it's so long, but
no, just 1 year.
It was Gilda Radner. She was fun.
She was a lovely girl, right?
Yeah. And I had perfect pitch, so with the musicians, I would tune up the piano. I do everything. Wow. Certain people that didn't like she just died. She was with Fleetwood Mac.
Christine McVie.
She didn't like anybody putting microphones on her, so she used to ask me to put the mic on it.
Hey, Pete, you got to forgive me, Pete. Your line's a little funky, and I got to jump because it's top of the hour. But I love hearing about it. Pete, you can call me and tell me about those women you dated any damn time, and Tony's just going to have to live with it. All right, gang. We're coming up on the top of the hour, and when we come back, we are going to finally break free of this conversation. And we're going to talk a little bit about taking care of ourselves. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the scary side of things, but how the hope is now growing. There's a lot of treatments for things like strokes and aneurysms and all of that stuff, and drug addiction and recovery and all of that. We're going to talk experience, strength, and hope on Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack on the Red Apple Audio Network.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
All right. Good morning. Boy, is there any better Sunday morning song than this? And is there any more profound subject for a Sunday morning than something that could really, Danny Sheehan? I mean, okay, let me just pick up on the little mini theme that was developing there for a quick moment. What could this do to just, okay, let's say those conversations start happening with real, regular people. All right. Let's say the Vatican. Let's say Pope Leo. Look, Pope Leo, the 14th, his namesake, the 13th, he founded the Vatican Observatory, right?
Yeah, not only that, but he founded the Lyonese conferences where they were discussing the issue of consciousness in its relationship to the material world.
So are we getting there now? So do you think, so look at that. God, what don't you know? So here it is, Danny. What happens if they start having these conversations? I mean, look, I've been in PR. I've been a political communications guy. I try to talk to the masses on Saturday and Sunday mornings here. When you do that, when you broach a big subject and you roll out a narrative as something as simple as, Zoran Mamdani is not a communist. Okay, whatever. Danny, how does the Vatican, A, roll this out? And B, what are the implications? What could happen? Could they just start losing faithful the left and right? Is that what they're concerned about?
No. That's already going on.
Well, yes, good point.
What the question is?
That's a hell of a point.
What the question is what possibility does this have of actually getting people to become interested in genuine spiritual issues? Now, let's just stop and think. Well, sure. we've got the James Webb Telescope up right now.
Right.
Okay. And, we had the Hubble up, and we had the Max Planck up. We've got, and what we're probing for right now is the actual exterior boundaries of our material universe.
Of our universe, okay? Right.
They realize it's 13.78 a billion years old.
Right.
And it's been expanding, not out and away from the locus of the initial Big Bang, but every single ultimately irreducible integer of matter in the entire universe that was compressed into one tiny pinhead size of our whole universe, every single one of those ultimately irreducible integers of matter repelled every other one at that instant of the Big Bang. And they've been expanding out and away from each other since that point in time. Okay? And this has been going on now for 13.7 billion years,
right?
But we know that we're probing on right now is the exterior point of the expansion. Okay, so we're in the process of trying to map the exterior shape of the entire universe, which appears to be this egg-shaped, not sphere, but an egg-shaped universe. And so the question that arises is, what's on the other side? When you get to the very end of the material universe and you map its boundaries, what is outside of that? What's out there? And what it appears to be, so we can get right down to it, what appears to be the reality is that there is an infinite and totally eternal sea of completely undifferentiated consciousness. Okay, and that this absolute infinite and eternal abiding sea of undifferentiated consciousness actually enfolded into being the original discontinuity in the field of completely inchoate consciousness.
And is that God?
That's the moment.
Is
that's
that the moment. And is that God?
But it's not a noun. It's a verb. It's a verb of being.
Right.
It's
yes.
A non-transitive verb of being.
Right.
Okay. And so that the minute that you start naming it and start giving it a noun, you have committed the ultimate heresy. And that's why in the ancient traditions, you could not name the name of God. If you attempted to name God, you were already off by one. You've got to understand this is not a noun. And so therefore what's happened is that this infinite and eternal sea of undifferentiated consciousness generated the initial discontinuity in the field. And the discontinuity had poles, had kind of exterior boundaries, but they're bonded together. The two antipodes of the original discontinuity were bonded together by the original gravitational attraction of an energy.
Danny,
this is the origins of the universe.
When the Vatican gives the final okay to finally start, this is going to be Father O'Flaherty is going to have a hell of a homily to tackle.
That's right.
When we come back,
but they're going to get the people involved,
that's the upshot. Stay right there. Please stay right there, because I have one final question that I'm going to ask you when we come back, and then we're going to have to do this again like in about a month or so, because we're leaving a lot on the table, I know. Everybody stay right there. We'll be back for a final question with Danny Sheehan after the top of the hour break. This is Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack on 77 WABC.
It's Another Side of Midnight, 77 WABC. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
And now joining us here on Another Side of Midnight with TJ McCormack, we have really for the first time ever somebody that for everybody listening doesn't need an introduction. I'm very, very happy to welcome Charlie Sheen to the show. Good morning, Charlie. Welcome.
Good morning, TJ. Thank you. Thank you. That's a lovely intro, even though it wasn't supposed to be introed.
Yes, true. Yes. Right. Yeah, he doesn't need one. He doesn't need one, but I'm going to give one because, perfunctory stuff,
I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, listen, man, congratulations on everything going on in your life now. You've got a hit on Netflix, which is reaching a fantastic audience, and which we'll talk about. And you've also got this great new memoir called The Book of Sheen. Congratulations on all of this, man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, who would have thought that I checked two boxes for two projects that I've nenever done before, and just rolling the dice, and that they happened at the same time and weren't planned as such.
Really? Oh, okay. Tell me about that. How did it come to be then?
I wasn't like, all right, this is the 1-2 punch that's going to, set the record straight and get everybody's attention. No, it wasn't anything like that. I've been thinking about the book for a long time, but didn't have enough perspective, didn't have enough distance between, all the stuff and the now, and so I just knew, I knew that I would know when the time was right to say yes and sit down and start it. And then this gentleman named Andrew Renzi comes into my life, and I watched a couple of the documentaries that he did. And there was one called Pepsi, Where's My Jet, which I thought was brilliant, right? And the storytelling. And then I was like, well, he's never really done a celebrity doc. And I hate the word celebrity, right? Even though I think celebrate is kind of the root word of it, right? Which is fine. Sure. He'd never done a doc about a well-known actor. How about that?
Okay.
But he did this episode of Untold about Jake Paul that I watched, and I was like, oh, damn. Okay. All right. Yeah. This guy knows what the hell he's doing. Yeah. Like on every front, you know? Yeah. And so when we sat down, it just happened to be right around the time that I was planning on starting the book. And it really, they actually kind of fed each other, because the research that Renzi and I did for a year leading up to actually sitting down for those interviews was research that was lending itself to the book as well.
Right. And the book, by the way, again, the book is called The Book of Sheen, a memoir. It reads, your style strikes me a lot like Hunter S. Thompson.
That's amazing. Wow.
There's a really cool beat to how you write. You write like you talk. You talk like you write. You get the sense that a lot of this stuff was hitting you organically in the moment, and it was making its way from your brain to the page in that order in very short time. And it doesn't feel like a ton of editing either. It feels like it just really flowed, and you just were just sitting there telling the truth in a really fun way.
That's amazing. Thank you. I'm literally going to call my mom today.
Yeah.
And tell her that you said that. Yeah. About Hunter Thompson.
Oh, totally, man. Oh, totally.
Seriously,
yeah. No.
That is wow. That is like a giant high five. Thank you.
No, of course.
Well, that's the reason that I knew I had to write it myself.
Yes.
You know, they had talked about a ghostwriter. I'm like, but then I'm just a storyteller again. You know, and I think that's what separates the book from the doc is, you know, there's a lot of pressure to perform when you're on camera, and be yourself and all that. But you still have to be engaging, entertaining, concise, detailed, right?
Yeah.
But to tell that story or a similar version of it, and you have 2 weeks just by yourself at like 3 a.m. when all the voices are screaming.
Yes. I know those voices. I know those voices.
I mean, they're all me. Yeah. They're just different accents of me. So it isn't one of those deals. But no, I love that you've highlighted that the book it's a fun read. It's a fun read, and people aren't reading these days.
Nope.
You know?
No, man.
And
I don't read. I don't read, but I got it. I got the book, and I found myself like tackling it, and in the middle of it, consciously going, "Oh my God, I'm reading."
That's awesome. That is awesome. How about that? We're turning back the clock, man. We're bringing something back. You know.
Well, you know, and I think what people are digging about. I mean, look, the kind of career you have when you're a film star, and then you've got the 2.5 Men and this and that, and that's people's living rooms. That's not just like a Q. What do they call it? A Q factor. It's people love you, like people dig you, and they love having you in their living room. And I think when you're going through your trials and your tribulations, I think you have more people rooting for you than the usual celeb. I think a lot of celebs, celebrated actors, I think a lot of people find themselves up against it. People feeling, well, good, knock them down a peg. But I think in your case, because I was living in LA when you were hitting some of these low points, I guess you could say, some of these struggles, these headwinds. I was living in Los Angeles, and I was swimming in some of those circles. I was a stand-up and an actor myself, and
wow.
And I knew some people that were in your universe, and it was really interesting how many people were rooting for you. And so when this book comes out, and it's an honest to God, really cool, fun account of the early days, the beginnings of of somebody who would eventually come to endear themselves and find their way into, like, you know, tens of millions of Americans' living rooms every week. I think it's the kind of thing that's just going to just propel this book, and clearly already the Netflix show, you know, into the next level. And
amazing.
So, yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you.
No,
Thank you.
You're
Wow.
welcome. And so, listen, you start off, though. I think this is what grabs me. You start off opening, you pull back the curtain, curtain opens, and you're already almost dead. Wait. So, give me a little idea. Tell people about why you made that choice, and about your early near death birth experience.
Because I was walking around with that line in my head for like 3 or 4 years. I don't have it perfectly memorized, but on September 3rd, 1965, in New York City at 10:58 p.m., I was born dead. And I thought, okay, now if you think about the two quotes that the book, you know, it's Hemingway and Cheech and Chong, right?
Yep.
So I thought, all right, what supports that? All right, born dead. It just doesn't, a complete oxymoron, right? And then, you know, I had these stuttering problems as a child and into adulthood, and still kind of lurks, you know, it's still there a little bit. And so I wanted to explore that the umbilical strangulation could have been connected to that. I also, I've had a middle name my whole life that people have made fun of. And I've had to always, you know, try to take some false pride, and it's the Irwin with an I, right? Like, that matters. It's still that name, right?
Yeah.
And so I just kind of saw opportunity in that first chapter to talk about that stuff, and also set the tone a little bit. That this is, you know, I wanted people to feel like they were being, or the audience or the reader, like they were going into something that could be described in complete sorrow or darkness or, you know, all of that. But there's humor, and they're like suddenly laughing where they're not sure if they're supposed to be.
Right.
And so I think it kind of sets the tone early on for what to expect. You know, there's no false advertising right off the bat. And even the title was kind of tongue in cheek that I just came up with like a few days before I had my first meeting with the publisher, right? And they're like, well, what do you think? And they said, okay, so we like this title. Do you have anything else? I said, I don't right now. I said, okay, then let's just keep it until something shows up that beats it.
Yeah. And
nothing did.
Nothing beat it. It works, man. It totally works. It's fun. It's, like you said, it's tongue in cheek. It's bravado-ish from a guy that's obviously turned a really humble corner in life, and is appreciating everything that you have. I think you look at. I get the sense that you look at life as a blessing, as a gift, and you know, you speak and write beautifully about your dad and your mom and your this brood and of a family that you grew up in, and you know, so really, again, it reads beautifully. Everybody, as if you don't recognize the voice, we're talking to Charlie Sheen here on Another Side of Midnight, and the name of the book that we're celebrating right now is called The Book of Sheen. And October 19th, everybody, just up 95 in New Haven, Charlie will be there in a conversation setting there at the Schubert Theater on October 19th, 8 p.m. So go and find tickets for that evening's conversation with Charlie Sheen, again at the Schubert Theater on October 19th. Charlie, you know, when I think about your public life, you've been public for, you know, forever, ever since you showed up next to Jennifer Grey in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is, you were hysterical in that like 3-minute moment. That was freaking funny, man. Ever since then, you've been a regular, you've been a constant. But in those funky years, it wasn't always on your own terms, right? You know, I mean, so you were kind of thrust into a spotlight, and it wasn't pretty. Look, I'm sober. I went through all my trials and tribulations quietly in a house in Los Angeles, dealing with just my wife in the darkness of alcoholism. I wasn't living out my demons in prime time and on TMZ and other programs. It was just unfortunately, sure. I was starring in that role in my own living room. But anyway, I say that to ask you, does this memoir, in your own words, on your own terms, does this allow you to drive? Did you find this was an opportunity for you to drive your own narrative, to sort of help define yourself now at this point, rather than just let old stories be old stories about you?
Absolutely. No, you nailed it 100%. And just let people in a way that I could really only do on the page. You know what I'm saying? Because the performance aspect of telling stories on camera, you know what I'm saying, versus like, I wanted the reader or the audience to feel like they're just in the room with me, or on the road trip with me, or on the relapse with me.
Yeah.
You know, right there. That kind of a sidecar view of some of the madness, but yeah, and I just wanted to, there's some themes in the book. There's the theme of choices, so many things come down to the things that we, the decisions that we make, and ownership. I think ownership is so important.
Yep.
If you live in a place of blame, you're never going to get to the next moment or the next flashpoint or springboard or just revelatory breakthrough.
Right.
If it stays about the fault of others,
Yeah.
and it's like and it's stuff that we learned in kindergarten.
Yeah. I think it's about ownership, and it's also about gratitude. I think if you're in a state of gratitude, dude, I mean,
absolutely, and it's maybe my life right now isn't like how I imagined it. Okay, so based on what?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Based on what sliding scale or what rule book or what manual, right?
Yeah.
And
totally.
kind of living life backwards in a way. In some of the superficial, items. Like, I used to live in giant houses, and now I live in a smaller place,
Right.
I used to own 50 cars.
Yeah.
I own one.
Wow. Sorry, man.
Yeah, but
sorry to hear
that. How many can I drive at once?
Right? Yeah, exactly. Boy, I tell you what, man. Yeah.
Well, people get a giant house, and then they go out and they spend a ton of money, and they put furniture in every room, right?
Right.
And occupy like 20% of those rooms, right?
Yeah.
And it's just there for when you give people that first tour. And then there's the ante room.
Right.
What is an ante room?
Right, yeah, yeah. Here's the waiting chamber. Here's the
Exactly.
Right.
Anything with chamber attached to it,
yeah.
Good things don't happen in that space.
No, good things don't happen in a chamber, and there's not a lot of gratitude in the life of someone,
who's in a place with chambers.
Yeah. Right. That's medieval, dude. That's medieval. Right. Yeah.
It is medieval. Yeah, you can smell that room just talking about it, right?
Yeah, totally.
So anyway, but it's exactly what you said. It goes back to gratitude, and it's this whole thing about need versus want.
Yeah,
need versus want.
Yeah,
and even just on a very smaller example, I have to some days say, okay, we are on a timeout.
Yeah.
From Amazon. We are on a 1 week timeout.
Yeah.
I don't care if my shoes are falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
My shoes aren't falling apart. They never get to that place, right?
Right.
I mean, I have a blessed life that is abundant, and I don't, I'm so grateful because, how many people are as lonely as they've ever been in a mansion?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Right? I mean, it's just like, and there's that line in there about Dad was never comfortable in places like that. He preferred, a home.
Yeah.
And then I say something like, the more people rely on glitz and doubloonary for their identity, the more unidentified they remain.
Yep.
And that's a word I just built. I just said, all right, this is now a word, and I don't care.
I had to look it up. I was like, is this a word? It was brilliant. Doubloonary, man. I mean, it was because it also elicits images of pirates and booty and treasure and
glistening gold, right?
Yes.
Or glinting rather, glinting gold. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Oh no, it was brilliant. Doubloonary. I mean, I actually told a buddy of mine in the car on the way here to the studio to record this. We were talking. I told him I was going to be talking to you, and I said, "You ever hear the word doubloonary?" And he took a guess, and I was like, "Yeah, that's what he meant." You mentioned your dad.
Awesome.
You mentioned your dad, and I'm just wondering. I'm curious about the role that your dad, your brothers, your sister. What role your mom? What did they play in the process of writing the book? And I'm also curious about your recovery journey. Tell me about the role that they might have played in some of these recent years in your life.
They've been my biggest supporters. They've been the voices of compassion and reason and love. When those were the only voices, they've been just as welcoming and non-judgmental. Because, and I'm sure you experienced this in the past before you finally said, all right, this time's for real, right?
Yeah, yep.
Is the doubt from people, right? And it's not imagined. It's not like they're basing it on, it's not baseless. It's people get gun shy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, someone that says, I'm all right, everything's great, and then it's not great. And it's like, all right, we're doing this again, and then you didn't do it again. And it's just that kind of that revolving door, and so they never left my side. They never gave up on me. And, my mom wrote me something, and I hope she doesn't mind me revealing this. And it's so powerful. I visited them yesterday because I've been on the road, and they kind of been catching glimpses here and there.
You've been all over the place. Yeah,
I have. But my parents don't watch YouTube. I mean, let's face it, right? They're not following my socials. Yeah, I'd be worried. If they were.
Right.
That's a whole nother conversation, right?
Yeah.
So I went there yesterday. It was just a drop in, just to give them a hug, and because they're going on a trip. And then we had a lovely visit. And I when I got home, there's a text from my mom, and she said, "Congratulations, you've become your own best friend."
Ooh.
And I was like, that stopped me. That stopped me in my tracks. And I wrote her back immediately, and I said, "Wow, thank you." Your words stunned. I don't know if I said stunned me, but just your words hit.
But
hit home.
What do you think
all the
she
way
was
to the bottom?
What do you think she was contrasting that to, buddy? Because our moms. Like my mom is listening right now to this show. Okay, my mom will send me notes the day, a text after the show, and she'll tell me what she liked from the night before, and I'm and moms always pay it as long as we have our moms, and you and I are both blessed to have our moms. As long as we have them, they're always our moms. We are still 14, we're still 8, them. And so, what do you think she was contrasting that to when she said to you, "You're your own best friend"? Congratulations. What do you think?
Like, I think she said. I think she said finally.
Finally. Okay, so finally, you're your own best friend. What do you think?
I think it's about always putting others first, taking care of everybody but me. You know, and I think it was really about that. Just that I've taken the time and the discipline and cleaned up my health, lost a lot of weight, you know, do a lot of good stuff, you know, vitamins and, you know, the whole package, right?
Yeah, totally.
And just being consistent with it.
Because when she sees you, she sees your eyes. When she sees you, she's looking at your skin tone. She's looking at your...
Exactly.
Right? She's looking at her baby.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And she's seen the dower or the you know, the kind of the shallow version of, you know, that she's seen for so many years.
Right.
You know,
well, you were on the edge at one point, buddy. You were like, could have gone either way, man. Right. I mean,
geez, right. And that's the thing I hang on to today is that I've just dedicated it as a reality that the next hit is fatal.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's just, and that real or imagined, debatable or otherwise, that's what I'm going with. The next hit is fatal.
Yeah.
And I see my kids at my funeral.
Yeah.
And I see all the people like, you know, and it's not like a funeral or a guy gets hit by a train in his car, right?
Right.
Because there's going to be a couple chuckles from the podium, right?
Yes.
Because how do you not see a train coming or hear it? Right.
Yep.
So I mean,
you had all that time to get the car off the tracks.
Thank you.
You know, and you did. So, and thank God you did. And that's what your mom is recognizing.
Exactly. It's just I think there's another message inside of that, you know, give yourself a pat on the back, you know, because I don't know if I'm sure you experience this. We stay, you know, we build momentum and we're, you know, and it's the right kind of momentum and we're taking care of everything and we're on time and we're front and center and we're the guy people rely on. Right. And then but we're not always honoring ourselves in that, because you know, we don't put ourselves first. You know, and especially with children. Do you have kids?
I have 2 teenage daughters. Yeah.
So you know. But I think it's just carving out a little bit of time for ourselves, just to. Yeah. You know, I heard a guy say years ago. He hopes that his prayer at night was that he hopes to be treated tomorrow exactly how he treated everybody today.
That'll keep you honest, right?
Exactly. Meaning if he was a dick, he's going to encounter that.
Dude, it's because, you know what, and by the way, everybody, we're talking to Charlie Sheen, and the book is The Book of Sheen, and I think honestly, dude, he referred to it like celebrity, celebrated actor. You're celebrating your own story, which deserves to be celebrated because you're on the road to a very happy crescendo, as opposed to like a tragic crash that everybody would have been mourning. So many people, because everybody had just fallen in love with you over those years of great success. And so this Book of Sheen and the program on Netflix, which is AKA Charlie Sheen, it's all a celebration and it's well deserved. But what I'm getting to though is this: what you just said. It's all about behavior. My sobriety. It's not about not drinking anymore for me. It's not about that. I mean, yes, of course, I can't drink. It's a non-starter, but it's about the behavior. My alcoholism lives in my behavior, because if I'm being lousy to my wife, who saved my life by kicking me out of the house. We were living in Sherman Oaks. We were living in Studio City when I got sober. I got sober in the Valley. And
oh wow,
yeah.
I used to live in Sherman Oaks. I get it. I know all of that area.
That whole scene. I got sober at my meetings were at a church on Moore Park Street, and right sure. There you go, right. And anyway, and so my behavior today, 20 years into my sobriety, is what defines my sobriety. If I'm a complete jerk for an entire day, I feel like I might as well have started drinking again. So, clearly you're into that notion that it's a blessing. It's about behaving right, and it's about keeping your feet under you and loving yourself and giving yourself a break, right? I mean, it's this dance. It's this daily dance.
Of course. Yeah, and then it's also practicing what we preach. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite expressions, because it's true, is that no one is above common courtesy, right?
Beautiful.
You can't debate that, right? No, it's just a fact.
Yeah.
And so did I, just kind of, we tend to review our day, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And did I place myself above common courtesy at any point in these last 12 hours? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. And I also believe in this thing called lunar brain versus solar brain, right?
Oh, that is so Charlie Sheen. Tell me, what is lunar brain versus solar brain? Tell me.
It's about how we think at night versus how we think during the daytime.
Love it.
And I'll blow people up before I'm going to bed, and I wake up and reread it, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What was I thinking?
You gotta pause.
And I'm crafting an apology.
Never hit send at night, dude, right? Never hit send.
I know. That's lunar brain, man. Lunar brain is not my friend, But, however, Lunar Brain wrote most of that freaking book. So,
well, this book, I'm telling you, everybody, this book, the Book of Sheen, it's written with it's one of, you said it's kind of like a co-pilot, right? Like a sidecar view into your life. You also get the sense too that you're also telling the reader, hey, look, it's okay to laugh. I'm making fun of this moment. It's okay. Believe me, there's humor in it. I lived through it, and it's okay to laugh in what I'm telling you. The read is, it's not easy in the sense that it's it's just nice and little words and all that. It's an easy read in the sense that it's engaging, it's funny, it's deadly truthful. You know that the reader knows that you are telling the truth because there's no other version of this that could exist. It's all real and organic. And again, you're a guy that people, I think, just inherently root for. And now that you're in a recovery and you're in a resurgence, and by the way, let's bring this conversation to a close. Let's bring it to a crescendo. Are you just, compare and contrast, say, to those darker days, years ago till now. Like, what are you thinking? How are you re-embracing, and what can we expect going forward from you professionally? You got some irons in the fire. I would imagine this is going to make you. This is going to at least put a few meetings in your calendar book. Career-wise,
yeah, no, it's hard. The worm is already starting to turn with that stuff, and I'm just the material that I'm starting to read again is the best stuff I've read in 20 years.
Oh, that's great.
People are looking at me because what the doc did was presented such a wonderful filmography, all the archival, the journey through all that, or all the early work, and people being reminded, oh, okay, he's not just a guy in the bowling shirt. He's not just a guy screaming winning.
Right.
He's not just a guy, going in or coming out of a rehab. There was there was a real body of work that people really connected with. And I'm really grateful for that and proud of some of it, right?
Right. And you own all of it. And you own all of it. That's the beauty.
Yeah. I do. And because I have to, because I know that's part of my journey. But to look at some of those interviews, especially in the doc, it's like, I don't recognize that guy, right?
Wow.
But I know exactly who he is.
Whoa.
You know?
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't even know if that makes sense.
It does. It does. I'm telling you right now, buddy, I came across a photo of myself and my wife at a friend's wedding about 6 weeks before I finally got sober. So we're at a wedding, right? So I'm as scrubbed up and looking as good as I'm possibly going to be. And you know what I mean? And I am bloated. I am bloodshot. I am just gross and sweaty. And and I show that to my daughters, and they're like, "Ew, Dad." And I go, "I know, ew, Dad." And I'm like, "Hey, look at me now. Look at me now." But again, it's those moments that you don't recognize the guy, but you do get it. It's like you right, and it keeps you honest too. It keeps you honest you don't want to revisit those days.
Right, because that guy, that version didn't, fly in from another planet, right?
Right.
He came from inside of my planet, right?
Yep.
So I think that's the stuff I got to keep close. And just touching on the thing about the next hit is fatal, right?
Yes.
The fantasy that I have about booze, right, is the first hour. It's just the first hour.
Right.
The first hour is the greatest hour in the known universe, right?
Yep.
It's the next 300 hours.
Yeah.
That wind up, and you've bought a one-way coach ticket to Amsterdam, right? And and you're not just in a different area code, you're in a different country, right?
Yep.
With people that you don't know, that now have your passport.
Yep.
That now have, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's post first hour that where things things get tricky.
Yes. You can file that under, 1 is too many and 50 is not enough.
Right.
You're right. You know, and it's,
but also in writing the book, right? Really drilling down into all this stuff, and some of it was tedious, some of it was really fun,
right.
Some of it was painful, right? But it's also it was a research project about okay, what's left? All right, what could possibly be left in that world?
Yeah.
And there's one thing left.
Right.
The ultimate final trip.
And?
Death.
Oh, boom.
Right?
Yep.
Not to end it on that note, but that's the only thing left. The only high left is the lowest place to go.
Indeed. And that's where, and that is, wow, that's profound, man. Look at this.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
You're right. No, you're right. 100%. And again, people, look, everybody listening, you've got to grab the book, The Book of Sheen, on Netflix. The doc is called AKA Charlie Sheen. If you haven't seen it yet, all your friends are talking about both items. Everybody can get the book. They can get it at Amazon. They can get everywhere with the books, right?
Yeah. As far as I know, yeah.
And for people here in the New York metropolitan area in the Northeast, this coming October 19th at the Schubert Theater in New Haven, Connecticut, you can go and see Charlie in conversation, talking about his life, his career, his new book, his new documentary on Netflix. October 19th at the Schubert Theater in New Haven, Connecticut. Go to the Schubert Theater's website and get tickets now. And Charlie, man, this jumped onto my possibility list. I'm so glad that we were able to work with your people and get this conversation in the book. And
this is amazing.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, my day has peaked.
There you go.
Now what?
Right?
Now what?
Now you're screwed, right?
What do I do? I just go back to bed? What do I do?
Just sit still. And just bask in the glow. Just bask in the glow that is you, my friend. Listen, really, congratulations on everything. And, we're both trudging the same road to happy destiny. And so I can relate. I can relate on that level to a lot of it. So, God bless you, buddy. Hang in there. And congratulations.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Charlie Sheen.
Can we make sure this is not our last conversation?
That would be great. Yeah, maybe I'll pop up in New Haven and you'll have to pretend to be happy to see me.
I wouldn't have to pretend.
So there's that TJ. Great. Okay. And yes, all right. Well, hopefully make that happen. Maybe I get up 95 and come catch that evening.
If you could, it'd be great to meet you.
Very cool. Thank you, Charlie.
I mean, we've met, but in person.
No, of course. Indeed. Yeah. Yes. All right, brother. I am so proud of you, and keep on keeping on and trudge on, and we will definitely see each other in the near future. Be well, Charlie Sheen.
Thank you so much. Take care.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
It is 52 minutes past the hour. We're going to open up the phones, 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Charlie Sheen, recovery, second chances, third chances. Have you received a second chance in life, a third chance in life? How many lives have you had? It is amazing how we can just be blessed and just how in one moment we could open up the phones. In one moment, everything could just go, just go to hell. And somehow, you ever been in those moments? Somehow it doesn't. Actually, I'm curious. I never did ask this. And 1-800-848-9222. I don't think I ever asked this one. It's certainly, in the realm of just a classic talk radio. Hey, let me know. Tell me about this. But tell me about a close call that you had where if literally not but for the grace of an all-knowing and loving God or a higher power or whatever you want to call it, or luck or timing, where a nanosecond, a minute, a sip of coffee, a red light, or whatever, that you'd be dead or terribly injured or lost somebody close to you, if not but for. Again, we can call it whatever. Grace of God, timing, luck. I'll take luck. When I think about being overpaid in my time on this planet, and not even including the self-inflicted, not including my drinking and driving and drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking and all the stupid stuff that comes with addiction. I'm just thinking about close calls in life. I can think of an almost drowning and I think there was an almost choking. Nobody's ever had to do the Heimlich. But I think I almost, anyway, I won't count that because I don't remember completely. But definitely one car moment that then making a left and the next person behind me making the left was plowed into and died right there in the street. And I mean, a year ago, a tree crashed behind my wife's car. It was like a stunt from a Burt Reynolds movie. It was like a stunt from Hooper. Remember the movie? That's one of the most underrated Burt Reynolds films. Hooper. A very hot Sally Field in that one. Boy, he had Sally Field in the prime of her Hollywood ingenue life. Anyway, So this tree came crashing down up in northern Westchester behind my wife's car. Genuinely the moment after she passed under it. Like she felt the branches scrape the back of her SUV. And numerous now these days with the way these lunatics, because I think of social media and all of these channels and feeds that are dedicated to and based upon and serve the desires of these guys who speed and like dodge in and out of traffic, these drifters. Isn't that called drifting, right? Something like that. Well, I know that's not drifting, but it's in that genre. There's darting in and out of traffic and these chases and so many. I mean, I think I wouldn't say those were definite near death moments for me, but certainly life changing potential accidents recently. But I'm wondering if you had, because again, my drowning thing is flipping. That was bad. My almost drowning was very bad in the ocean, in the Long Island Sound. But yeah, definitely a couple of close calls with car accidents and a few other things that I can name. And one really trippy one that I'll tell you about. Living in Los Angeles, living on, as I mentioned to Charlie, living on Moore Park Street in Sherman Oaks. Maureen knows what I'm talking about. Maureen, it was about 2 blocks from Coldwater Canyon on Moore Park Street. I was walking our dog. I was walking our Shih Tzu, Benny. Our little Shih Tzu, Benny. And literally, took Benny to the end of the street, put mail in the mailbox. Literally, I walked away. This is how quickly it happened. I put the mail in the mailbox, the little door thing that swings up, right? The little mouth that you feed it into. We walked away immediately. And as I heard the pung of the mailbox drawer door hitting the rest of it, it was that quick. A car plowed right off the opposite direction of the street, right up onto the curb, and smashed that mailbox into the house that it was in front of. I'm talking 7 seconds. All right. Give me a call, 1-800-848-9222. Have you come close to death?
It's Another Side of Midnight, 77 WABC. Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Idea Gen Global Podcast with George Sifakis.
I'm George Sifakis. In a world overflowing with noise, there is one forum where the world's smartest voices connect, where visionaries sit at the same table as innovators, and great minds don't just talk, they act.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.